say you're more
Hi
than
guys,
welcome
Dr.
to
YouTube.
film a student film and have a bunch of aerial cinematography in it.
About drones.
Because it's just a hobby project, and then go on to win several awards and have theatrical release of that film and make millions of dollars, and hey, no problem. Because you were just doing it for fun and that was your hobby. But if the local fire department or search and rescue hires you to come out and try to find somebody that's lost on the side of a mountain, on the side of a cliff, to fly down there and see if they're okay, oops, now you're not allowed to do that.
Go check
For
them
people who
out.
don't know you, can you please tell us your name and introduce yourself?
Sure, Colin Gwynn, and I am the Chief Innovations Officer at DJI, DJI.com.
Now,
Go check out DJI. I'm Dr.
UAV
YouTube.
Field. There's a bunch of different laws. Some of them are ridiculous. Some of them are rational. State or federal, what do you think is the most ridiculous law, and what do you think is the most rational law currently on the books right now?
Okay, all right. So, laws currently on the books, or laws being discussed and being voted on?
Mostly what's on the books now, so what people should know if they have a DJI Phantom, if they have another UAV, what should they know? What is the most ridiculous one, whether it's a state or even federal, and what's the most rational one?
Okay, so just to throw it out there as a highly ridiculous one, the state of Oregon wants to make it illegal to even own a flying camera, whether it's a Parrot AR drone that you bought at Brookstone in the airport, or a DJI Phantom, or whatever. It would literally be illegal just to have it and own it, and then it would be, I think, a Class B misdemeanor to fly it, and that's a serious law being looked at now. It's not on the books, so looking at the books, I think in Santa Monica, the small little city of Santa Monica, there's a city ordinance that you just can't fly anything, whether it has a camera or not, and that was their way. There's a lot of very wealthy people in Santa Monica area that didn't want paparazzi flying cameras over their houses, and so they just made a blanket city ordinance saying you can't fly remote control aircraft at all in the city. So that's fairly ridiculous to me. Like, if you buy a little Horizon Vapor, slow stick little toy, $100 toy plane, you can't go in your backyard and fly it around. That just seems crazy. A law that I think makes sense is something I spoke about this morning was House Bill 912 in Texas, where we worked with Senator Gooden. That was a law that I would be sitting here telling you about as a seriously ridiculous law if it were to have passed in its original form and how it was originally written, which was to say that any time somebody was in the air and took any kind of photo, if there was any private property being shown, it would be a Class C misdemeanor to show that photo anywhere without written permission of every single home in the photo. Even if you're at 200 feet, there's 100 homes in your picture. That would have been ridiculous and would have not helped the UAV industry at all. After working with Senator Gooden and the legislators there, or Representative Gooden, they adjusted the bill to say if you fly a Phantom with the intent to surveil, with the intent to spy on your neighbor, and you go take a bunch of pictures of your neighbor hanging out by the pool or whatever and put those online, then that is illegal, and that's a Class B misdemeanor. So I think that makes sense, because we're not making the Phantom as a spy device. Our target dealers are not spy shops. Our target dealers are B&H Photo and Video and Adorama and camera shops. We want this to be an extension of another tool in your bag of your photography skill set. So we support those types of laws, and I think something like that would make sense.
How did that law in Texas come into play? Because there's another story behind it that really, I think, is a positive story of UAVs that really help people. Can you tell us the story behind that?
Yeah, sure. It's pretty interesting. There was a very wealthy landowner slash, pig farm owner, and somebody was flying a small unmanned aerial system with a camera on it, and they came down. They were taking some pictures from high altitudes, several hundred feet. They came down and they were looking through their pictures, and they were like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? And they noticed that there was large amounts of pig blood being dumped into a river in Texas, which is obviously extremely harmful to the environment, and I don't think anyone would support that kind of activity. Well, they let the local officials know. This landowner was fined heavily, and his argument was, hey, somebody flying their remote control camera was spying on my land, and I shouldn't be in trouble for polluting in this river just because I was found by some kid in his toy helicopter. So he ended up, I guess, still getting in trouble, but then he went to his local representative and said, hey, we need to make a law that says you can't take pictures of people's land from the air with these remote control systems. And so that's where the law came from, which is why in its original form it was extremely ridiculous. Yeah. But, you know, after working with them, we said, okay, if you're flying with the intent to surveil, which, by the way, that kid was not. He was flying, he had pictures of this whole area, and it just so happened that one of the pictures you could see the pig blood. So what's great about it is that with the law that was passed, that same flight would have gotten that same guy in trouble for dumping pig blood because they just inadvertently saw it in the photo. Now, if you flew over that guy's land to case his property and took a bunch of photos, then that would be illegal.
Yeah. Now, to me, technology is a double-edged sword. It's advancing tremendously, but hearing stories like this, there's a lot of potential with UAVs to do good. From your experiences, what other instances, or is there a moment or instance that stands out to you where UAVs were used for something greater, for something good, and used for good purposes, other than just this amazing story that you just shared with us? Is there another story that you personally know of that affected
rescue? They've rescued people.
Society, humanity in a positive way because of a UAV?
You know, there's a lot. There's a lot of stories of them being used in fires and monitoring, you know, when you've got fire departments that are in these, you know, heavily wooded areas that don't have an aerial view of where this fire is, where it's going, what the direction is, and being able to use a phantom to pop up in the air and see it really quickly. You know, there's stories of CNN has a Phantom, and they were on scene at a hostage situation at this like ranch somewhere, and no one could go back none of the SWAT officers could go back because they didn't know what was around the corner of this house and what it looked like and what the situation was. And, you know, the CNN guy was like, hey, we've got this Phantom that we could fly over there and at least see what the deal is and fly back. If the guy shoots it, who cares? You know, and they're like, yes, get that thing back there now. You know, we've got these people's lives at risk. So they flew the Phantom in, they brought it back, they looked at the video, they could see, okay, this is here, this barrier's here, we can hide behind this. I mean, that was a hugely positive use, in my opinion. But to me, what's almost more exciting and I think great for humanity is in education. You know, we've now partnered with several different schools and educators to use things like the Phantom and the Phantom Vision almost as like the science class's pet. You know, it's like.
All right, guys, let's go talk. See, I got mine. See, I don't got a Phantom, but I got this. I got my Nighthawk. I put some guards on it so I don't chop people up. But I have more fun with this than any other toy I've ever had. And what you guys don't quite understand is that this hobby will help a lot of people. I got off drugs, I'm straight now, and this keeps me occupied. But you guys coming up with these I tried calling, getting my number so I could put it on my drone. I couldn't get a hold of you guys, so how can anybody else? So you could take your federal laws or whatever you want to do with these drones, you better figure them out because I'm gonna fly. You know what I mean? And if you make it where only the rich people can fly the things, you're wrong. But like he said, we need to make laws where hobbyists don't get taken over by idiots that don't know what they're doing. But call your congressman, tell them to make some good laws for camera drones, all right? Later.